Blue is the warmest color. Yes. Now, you may be thinking, wait a minute, isn't red the warmest color? Nope, 'tis blue. A lot of people think that blue is on the colder end of the color spectrum, but nope, it is the warmest color. Blue is the warmest color I know almost nothing about other than it apparently has an incredibly explicit sex scene in it. That's why I'm watching it. It's a relationship drama, I guess. I don't usually like relationship dramas unless there's something else in the movie to supplement it. For example, I love Return of the Living Dead Part 3. At its core, it's a relationship drama between Melinda Clarke and whoever the other actor is. But there are flesh-eating zombies in the movie, so it works really well. You have characters and you care about and the drama of their relationship in a world falling apart and being eaten by zombies. It's great. Movie. It's the most touching love story I've ever seen. Makes me cry. Yeah. I'm guessing there's no zombies in this movie. Blue is the warmest color. Probably no explosions. So it's probably pure relationship drama. Which means I might be bored throughout the entire running time. So hopefully it's not too long. On the other hand, maybe these characters are just incredibly compelling and I just, sit at the edge of my chair and want to know what happens to them. Will they stay together? Will they split up? Will they get back together? Will one of them die? Will they be happy? I probably won't care. So why am I watching this movie? Well, as I said, there is apparently a really explicit sex scene in it. And this is why I don't know much about the movie, because it's the only thing anyone ever talks about. I don't even know if I've heard the movie's good. I went to film festivals and people, oh, it's great, it's great. But what everyone talks about is the sex scene. And, did the actors really do it? That's why I'm watching the movie, because no. They almost certainly didn't. If you have to ask if they really did it, the answer is probably no. I mean, who cares if they did, but no, it's a movie, they probably did not. But since that's the only thing I hear about this movie, man, that sex scene was so explicit. Do you think they were, really doing it? So, that's really the only reason I'm going to watch this movie, to see this sex scene and see if I come away wondering if they really did it, or more than likely I'll come away going, no, they didn't. Obviously, because they don't show anything. But we will see. So, blue is the warmest color. Be back in a bit. I was wrong. It is not a relationship drama. It is a character study. Alas, a genre of film I typically care even less for. Zombies, explosions really could have made this film better. It's not a bad film. I understand why people like it. It's a well-done film. The performances are quite good. A lot of the directing I was very impressed with. The cinematography's good. It's too long. It's 3 hours long. 2 hours and 59 minutes. Even for anyone who's really a fan of the movie, I think would agree it's a bit too long. And I don't dislike long movies. Long movies are fine. I like the Lord of the Rings films. The extended editions, at least, are 3 hours and then some. So the length really isn't a problem. It's just there are several scenes in the movie that just go on too long. The scene says what it needs to say about the character, but it doesn't stop. For example, there's a scene with our main character in a parade, a march, a kind of a protest rally march type of thing. And it's shown because it rounds her as a character. You start understand. It gives you more of an insight into what kind of things she does and what kind of person she is and the type of people she hangs out with and how she reacts in that situation. It's important things to see. But that scene really doesn't need to be much longer than a minute. There's no dialogue. There's no character exchanges. It's more a peek into her life. An extended peek. I didn't time it, but that scene is probably... It feels like it goes on for 5, so it's probably half. It's probably 2.5 or 3 minutes long, but it's that kind of thing where you could have shortened that scene and not actually lost anything. Not actually have lost anything. I wouldn't say the movie bored me. No, I would. The movie bored me. That was a long 3-hour sit. I remember the first time I checked the time, I thought, and now I knew it was 3 hours because I could see the going in that it was 2 hours and 59 minutes. But the first time I checked the clock, I was only 50 minutes in. I'm like, oh no. And again, I want to stress, it's not a bad movie. If you like character studies, if you're really interested in following this person throughout it's not really said, but probably a 5 to 6 year chunk of her life, you'll probably enjoy this movie. But let's talk about why I watched this movie in the first place, the sex scene. There's actually several of them. But I think when people are talking about did they do it, they're talking about one in particular, the first one. The first one between the two leads. It would actually be the second one. No, third one, because there's a fantasy dream sequence at some point. Not that any of this matters. This is another example of a scene that goes on way too long. It is, bar none, the longest sex scene I have ever seen. Except in pornos. In a mainstream film, this is almost assuredly the single longest sex scene I have ever seen. You remember, if you haven't seen They Live, see They Live. It's awesome. There is a fight scene in that movie that goes, a fist fight scene between Keith David and Roddy Piper that goes on for literally 7 solid minutes. It is awesome. There is a sex scene in this movie that goes on for, it feels like it went on for like 15 minutes, but probably, let's half that, say 6 or 7. That's still really long for a sex scene with no dialogue, no character development. It's not furthering the plot. It's just watching these two characters get it on. And get it on, and 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 on. If the movie wasn't 3 hours, I'd go back and time it, but it has to be over 5. It has to be over 5 minutes if it's not pushing 7. This is another scene, again, another example of a scene that really could have been trimmed down. It's like, after a minute, they're sexually active and they work well together. They're enjoying each other's company. Got it. Move along. The movie's long enough. So, did they, do it? It depends on exactly how you define doing it. For my money, I would define doing it as penetration. There's no penetration shown, so no, they didn't do it. They are naked. There's lots of kissing and licking, and there is quite a lot of crotch nuzzling going on. Crotches were nuzzled, but you didn't see any fingers or tongues being inserted anywhere. Well, other than mouths, but that really doesn't count. So, no. Unless you count crotch nuzzling as doing it, no, the actors really didn't do it. You do see an erect penis in this movie. For what it's worth. You don't see it being inserted anywhere, but you do get to see one, so yay. Let's see. Is there anything else to say about this movie? Not really. In my head I keep calling this movie The Girl with the Blue Hair. It's blue is the warmest color, but for some reason the girl with the blue hair. I'm thinking, maybe if it was actually The Girl with the Blue Hair and it was like a spiritual successor to The Bride with White Hair, a Ronnie Yu film from the 90s, it would be better. At least for me. Maybe. And actually, I'm not that big a fan of Bride with White Hair. It's actually a visually arresting movie, but I didn't really, as most Ronnie Yu films are, but I didn't really care for it that much, so, yeah, so I hope you're enjoying 30 days of Netflix. That's 4 down. What's next? Who knows? You'll find out as soon as I cut, but I'm really not sure what I'll be watching next. Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying the series, and until next time, have a crotch nuzzling good time.